Let's get into it. Soul Not For Sale podcast, and we have the wife here.
Oh.
So many people love your input. So many gentlemen love your voice, like they want to fight or something, which is fine. We can do that. I'll fight over my wife.
You never need to.
But I'm glad you're here.
I like being here. It's a fun time.
Good. We're talking about simulation theory. We got Joe Rogan. I got a Joe Rogan clip for you. Then I got another Joe Rogan clip for you. Then I have a Lex Friedman and Elon Musk clip for you.
Ooh.
And I'm also going to be showing you some technology that Zuckerberg has been working on. I know some people don't like to hear from the reptilians, but this reptilian has developed something very, very cool. This is very cool. You didn't even get to see this.
No,
when
I
you
haven't
see
seen
this,
any of
this
this.
is very, very interesting. But let's jump right in. Sam Altman, Joe Rogan, and they're talking about simulation theory. Then we're going to get to another clip right after that. And then the wife is going to bring up some things she's been looking into. Mm-hmm. Let's get into it right now.
Thing is, I can say is I don't know.
Yeah. Do you wonder why it's you? Do you ever think, like, how am I at the forefront of this spectacular change?
Well, first of all, I think it's very much like, I think this is, you could make the statement from many companies, but none is as true for as OpenAI. It's like the CEO is far from the most important person in the company. Like in our case, there's a large handful of researchers, each of which are individually more critical to the success we've had so far and that we will have in the future than me. But even that, and I bet those people like really are like, this is weird to be them. But it's certainly weird enough for me that it like ups my simulation hypothesis probability somewhat.
If you had to give a guess, when you think about the possibility of simulation theory, what kind of percentage do you?
I've never known how to put any number on it. Like, it's every argument that I've written explaining why it's like super high probability. That all seems reasonable to me. Feels impossible to reason about though. What about you?
Yeah, same thing. I go maybe, but it's still what it is, and I have to.
That's
exist.
the main thing is I think it doesn't matter. I think it's like okay.
It definitely matters, I guess, but there's not a way to know currently, and also
what matters though?
Well, if this really is, our inherent understanding of life is that we are these biological creatures that interact with other biological creatures. We mate and breed, and that this creates more of us, and that hopefully as society advances and we acquire more information, more understanding and knowledge, this next version of society will be superior to the version that preceded it, which is just how we look at society today. Nobody wants to live in 1860 where you died of a cold and there's no cure for infections. It's much better to be alive now. Just inarguably, unless you really do prefer the simple life that you see on Yellowstone or something, it's like what we're dealing with now in terms, first of all, access to information, the lack of ignorance. If you choose to seek out information, you have so much more access to it now than ever before.
That's so cool.
And over time, like if you go back to the beginning of written history to now, one of the things that is clearly evident is the more access to information, the better choices people can make. They don't always make better choices, but they certainly have much more of a potential to make better choices with more access to information. We think that this is just this biological thing, but imagine if that's not what's going on. Imagine if this is a program and that you are just consciousness that's connected to this thing that's creating this experience that is indistinguishable from what we like to think of as a real biological experience from carbon-based life forms interacting with solid physical things in the real world.
It's still unclear to me what I'm supposed to do differently or think
differently.
There's
no answer. Yeah, you're 100% right. What can you do differently? If you exist as if it's a simulation, if you just live your life as if it's a simulation, I don't know if that's the solution. I think...
it's real to me no matter what.
Mm-hmm. It's real, yeah.
I'm going to live that way.
Mm-hmm. And that will be the problem with an actual simulation if and when it does get implemented.
Yeah.
If we do create an actual simulation that's indistinguishable from real life, like what are the rules of the simulation? How does it work? Is that simulation fair and equitable and much more reasonable and peaceful? Is there no war in that simulation? Should we all agree to hook up to it because we'll have a completely different experience in life, and all the angst of crime and violence and the things that we truly are terrified of, there will be non-existent in the simulation. Yeah. I mean, if we keep going, it seems like if you just extrapolate from where VR is now. Did you see the podcast that Lex Friedman did with Mark Zuckerberg?
I saw some clips, but I haven't got to watch the whole thing.
Bizarre, right? So they're essentially using like very realistic physical avatars in the metaverse. Like that's step one. That's Pong.
Maybe that's step 3.
Yeah.
Maybe it's a little beyond Pong at that point.
Yeah, maybe it's Atari. Yeah. Maybe you're playing Space Invaders now. But whatever it is, it's on the path to this thing that will be indistinguishable. That seems inevitable. Those two things seem inevitable to me. The inevitable thing to me is that we will create a life form that is an artificial, intelligent life form that's far more advanced than us, and once it becomes sentient, it will be able to create a far better version of itself. And then as it has better versions of itself, it will keep going, and if it keeps going, it will reach godlike capabilities. The complete understanding of every aspect of the universe and the structure of it itself, how to manipulate it, how to travel through it, how to communicate. And that, if we keep going, if we survive 100 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, and we're still on this same technological exponential increasing in capability path, that's God. We become something like a God. And that might be what we do. That might be what intelligent, curious, innovative life actually does. It creates something that creates the very universe that we live in.
Like creates the next simulation, and then
maybe that's the birth of the universe itself, is creativity and intelligence, and that it all comes from that. I used to have this joke about the Big Bang, like what if the Big Bang is just a natural thing, like humans get so advanced that they create a Big Bang machine, and then we're so autistic and riddled with Adderall that we have no concept or worry of the consequences, and someone's like, I'll fucking press it, and they press it, and boom, we start from scratch every 14 billion years. And that's what a Big Bang is. I mean, I don't know.
His face.
I love that face. He's like, I'm really here with Joe Rogan. The stories are true. These weren't just sound bites. This is really how he is. But it's an interesting topic. And for those of you that don't know what simulation theory is, it's the theory that we're in a simulation, that none of this is real. This table's not real. What you're watching isn't real. Your life, your hands, everything. It's just like... it's a game of sorts.
Yeah, just a big computer program playing out.
Huge computer program playing out for a purpose that is completely unknown to us because we're in it. Mm-hmm. We're in it, and that's like how it's supposed to be. Like the Truman Show. But at least the Truman Show had actually point.
The world.
It had a point, kind of. Everybody was watching that one guy. But for all we know, if this is that, everybody's watching one guy. Which would be Elon. They're not watching me. They're watching Elon.
Never know.
Yeah, it's Elon that they're watching.
It's possible that Elon doesn't exist until you see him on
on
videos.
What? On videos?
Yeah.
Yeah, you've never seen him in real life, right?
Well, even for people that have, like even the people that you see in real life, maybe they don't exist when you're not seeing them.
Yeah, that's a weird thing to think about, right? That is a weird thing to think about. A very odd thing to think about, especially when you're going through cities and towns and whatnot.
Yeah.
You're just walking through things, because sometimes, like, I'll always listen to conversations, like, as we're walking, as I'm walking at all, and it always sounds nonsensical.
Yeah, and if you like watch people at the bus stop, it's my favorite thing. They just look like Sims.
That's her thing.
I love it.
She calls people Sims. Way before people were calling people NPCs, she was calling people Sims.
They're like, oh.
It's so wild. You say that to a younger person now, and they're like, what's a Sim?
True.
And you have to explain it's an NPC. And they're like, oh, okay.
I don't think I would know. It would take me a minute if somebody said NPC to me.
Right? Because you don't, it's
because
weird.
They're Sims.
It's weird. Yeah, exactly. That was the first thing. That's like the Pong of the NPCs.
Yeah.
Basically.
It's pretty advanced Pong.
That's how old you are.
Oh God.
It gets worse. Trust me. I'm older than she is. It's wild what people don't know. I was talking to her one time, and she knows now, but I was like, you ever seen Seinfeld? And she's like, no. And I'm like, wait, what?
No, never.
She's like, I've never seen Seinfeld. There's been a bunch of things like that where I'm like, you've never seen this thing?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Seinfeld came out before I was born.
Yeah, well, See, there you go. See
Isn't that crazy?
and then a younger person hits you with that. They say that to you. And you're just like, fine, never
But I
mind.
bet you there's kids now who have no idea who Seinfeld even is.
Oh, no clue. They don't know Jerry Seinfeld.
Yeah.
What would they watch him for? He doesn't have an Instagram. He
True.
doesn't do shorts. He's not on TikTok. Why would they know? You know, they have no clue. But what do you think about what they were saying right now with this whole simulation theory? Especially the ending where what if people just get to a certain point with technology where all of a sudden you just have this box?
What's one of like the biggest arguments of simulation theory as well? That like people naturally are going to become more advanced.
Yeah.
So there's either like, I think the theory was that there's either two situations that could be true.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one is that it's not a simulation, which means that humans never existed before and got to a point technologically where they could either make like a time capsule, contact aliens, or make a box like that. So that's theory one, is that we've never gotten to that point before ever.
But we are getting to it.
Yeah.
Like Rogan was saying.
Theory two is that we are a simulation and that one of those three things has happened to kind of reset the clock. So they say, like they were talking about not being able to quantify like a % chance of being in a simulation.
Yeah.
But based on that theory, it would be just 50-50. And I was like, oh, when I heard that theory, did that make sense?
That's very interesting. You know, this theory has always bounced around in pothead circles, but Elon Musk actually brought it to the forefront. Like when he started talking about it, everybody took notice because of how smart he was and all the things he had done, to the point where he actually did a whole interview for like 2 hours just talking about that. Yeah, only that. And he's really big into it, and he really feels as though that's where we're at.
Yeah.
And Joe Rogan always has the joke where he kind of goes, yeah, of course that's what Elon Musk thinks, because he's Elon Musk. Look at all the things he gets to do and us and that. It's like,
yeah, all the wild stuff.
and people always make the joke of like the guy who works at 7-Eleven, like he doesn't feel like he's in a simulation.
True.
But if a simulation did exist, you would search, and assuming that you'd be this being that's had all these experiences or doesn't have access to emotions or doesn't have any hardships to go through, you would want the 7-Eleven experience. You would want to work in this hard life, because usually a harder life, and I know from experience, harder life is enriched with a lot of emotions.
Yes.
Like a lot.
So if you're looking for the human experience, that would be
exactly
a more fulfilling option.
100%. 100%. You'd want to feel that. You'd want to feel what it was like to have to, you know, grind.
But also
grind
just
like a
in terms
person.
of like, if we're being observed through this simulation, it's not as interesting when somebody has all of their resources.
Yes.
Like it's more interesting to see that experience of somebody who doesn't have everything,
when you
and
have
how they would work to achieve it.
Yeah.
And what would motivate them.
How do you get to that point of even doing anything?
Yeah.
You know, like a millionaire versus somebody who's like $0.
Yeah.
Like if it was like all like a video game, and you're like, how am I going to get from 0 to like millions?
It's true.
Like, how am I going to get from broken to like a whole person? Like, how am I going to get happy? How am I going to do all that?
Yeah.
And then everything that comes with that.
And people are amazing and resilient and do figure things out.
And it would make you have a different type of appreciation, right? All right. Well, we got another clip. You want to do another clip?
Yeah.
All right, let's do the other clip. This is Joe Rogan sitting with Elon Musk. You guys can see him queued up on the screen right here. Let's get that going.
We'll lose this. Like you and I are just looking at each other.
Whoa, let's turn it up here.
I hope.
You think so?
I think you probably have regular eyes.
This could be some simulation.
It could. Do you entertain that?
Well, the argument for the simulation, I think, is quite strong, because if you assume any improvements at all over time, any improvement, 1%, 0.1%, just extend the time frame, make it 1,000 years, 1,000,000 years. The universe is 13.8 billion years old. What would civilization, if you're very generous, civilization is maybe 7,000 or 8,000 years old, if you count it from the first writing. This is nothing. This is nothing. So if you assume any rate of improvement at all,
then games will be indistinguishable from reality. Or civilization will end. One of those two things will occur. Therefore, we are most likely in a simulation.
Or we're on
'Cause
our
we
way to
exist.
one, right? Well, but just
Since we
because we
exist,
exist, we could most
we-
certainly be on the road. We could be on the road to that, right? It doesn't mean that it has to have
We could
already
be in base
happened.
reality. We could be in base reality.
We could be here now on our way to the road or on our way to the destination where this can never happen again, where we are completely ingrained in some sort of an artificial technology or some sort of a symbiotic relationship with the internet or the next level of sharing information. But right now we're not there yet. That's possible too, right? It's possible that a simulation is one day going to be inevitable, that we're going to have something that's indistinguishable from regular reality. But maybe we're not there yet. That's also possible. But we're not
Yes,
quite
it
there
is.
yet. That this is real. When I touch that
Feels
wood,
very real.
maybe that's why everybody's like into like mason jars and shit.
Mason jars.
Suede shoes. People are into like craft restaurants and they want raw wood. Everyone wants to see metal. People. It seems like people are like longing towards some weird log cabin type nostalgia.
reality.
Yeah, like holding on, like clinging, just
Sure.
dragging their nails through the mud, like don't take me yet.
That's kind of true. I thought of myself when he said that. I was like, log cabin. I'm like, that's what I want.
Yeah.
Am I a part of it?
And
Is this-
aversions to like big cities and stuff.
Can you imagine? That's just part of it. You're just occupied by that person who's like, I'm gonna go to the log cabin area. It's like a side quest, and you just, I'm gonna do the log cabin thing. And then
Yeah.
another person's like, I'm gonna do the chip in the brain thing. I'm gonna become the
Jeez.
smartest thing possible. I'm gonna get rid of my legs. I don't need them. Switch these things out real quick. You know. Mm-hmm. So when it comes to this whole thing, like what, and this is the thing. This is why everybody started considering it, because it made a lot of sense. He was just like, think of a game, think of any game, and then think of it just getting better and better and better and better
Yeah.
until it got to the point where I should even search this just for you. Oh man, there's something wild. What did you have in terms of all this? Did you find anything?
Yeah, there's a couple different theories for why the simulation theory is like very possible. And there's a couple different like philosophized things. So one of them is called Occam's razor.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically that the simulation theory offers a simple explanation for the complexities of the universe. Like we all know there's like crazy stuff in terms of physics and patterns and things like that going on. So it's it would be surprising if that was all accidental. So Occam's razor is basically a theory that simulation theory has to be correct because everything is so specific.
Can I show you something?
Yeah.
Really quick, let me just show you something. This is a game.
Really?
Yeah,
It looks so real.
that's not real. That's not real.
What game is? Can you even say?
It's a game that they're working on.
Oh.
It's not. It might come out 2014. See, it's not a game. It's a game.
What?
This is what games are going to be like.
Oh no.
So now it's like take it away from the wild first-person shooter thing, and just put it on to regular life.
Yeah. Even watching games like that stresses me out.
It's not a game.
I don't like it.
How weird is that, eh?
I don't like it.
But yeah. Sorry. Go ahead. I just wanted to show that to you quickly.
There's also another philosophized paradox called the Fermi paradox. And it raises the question as to why we haven't encountered aliens before.
Okay.
And it basically suggests that if we are in a simulation, that those civilizations may live outside of it. So it's saying because we haven't met them within our knowledge yet, then they're probably living outside of the simulation. Because there's like way too high of a probability that aliens exist.
True enough.
And it seems unreasonable that given, I don't know, alien technology, that they wouldn't have found and contacted us.
True. At some point.
Yeah. So that's why it becomes like Truman Show.
Yeah, that is interesting because when people bring up aliens and it's like, oh, why would aliens, like I think Neil deGrasse Tyson said it, which he's lost his mind, but there's been many people that have been like, why would someone even want to contact, like why would they want to contact us? Why would they want to have it like be around us or anything? And I think the thing to that is, if you're that much more advanced, maybe you wouldn't care. Like you wouldn't care to make yourself known. Like, what would it matter?
I guess.
Because you could just be like, whatever, they'll see us. Who cares? We'll just leave. Like, what? They can't even get off the planet. Like, it takes them like a whole production to get off the planet. So what if they see us in the sky? Who cares? Like, let's go down and talk to them. What are they going to do? We'll just teleport. We'll be gone. I don't know. It's weird. It is weird. Because I feel like they, like we never try to hide from ants.
Yeah.
If people are always thinking this drastic difference in like intelligence between us and them.
And even like a zoo. Like we keep animals in the zoo to go look at them.
Can you imagine?
Because they're from like different parts of the world and we don't see them often.
Imagine if this is a zoo. Ooh.
Yeah, right? It's a people zoo.
Ooh, people zoo. That has to be a movie.
People zoo?
Yeah.
And that's why there's so many like extraterrestrial sightings and things, because they like fly over to see us.
Yeah, right? They're just, it's
like
African
a tourist
lion
thing.
safari.
Yeah, but for people. And they're like, ooh. And they have to sign waivers that their vehicles might get messed up.
We are not responsible for what happens if you crash land on
They
this
do
planet.
have minor missiles.
Yeah, they do have the minor missiles. They have gravity, so this is on you. You want to go by. All right? You want to check them out? It's like, yeah, let's check them out. Let's do it. Start feeding us stuff. Cheetos. Cheetos are really from aliens.
Yeah, it's possible.
Give them Cheetos.
Give them Cheetos.
They love Cheetos.
The gift of Cheetos.
Just like,
It's basically like seeds from where they're from. Like we're feeding squirrels.
oh man. So we do have another clip. Let me know. Do you have another argument? You were just in the middle of something. I keep interrupting you.
No, it's okay. Play it.
Let's go to the clip.
Of course.
This is Lex Friedman, Elon Musk, again talking about the simulation theory. Let's get into it.
Go to the big questions once again.
Oh, let's turn it up. Turn it up. Turn it up.
You're with Einstein that you believe in the God of Spinoza.
Yes.
So that's a view that God is like the universe and reveals himself through the laws of physics, or as Einstein said, through the lawful harmony of the world.
Yeah, I would agree that God of the simulator or whatever the supreme being or beings reveal themselves through the physics. They're creators of this existence, and it's incumbent upon us to try to understand more about this wondrous creation.
Like, who created this thing? Who's running this thing? Like, embodying it into a singular question with a sexy word on top of it is like focusing the mind to understand. It does seem like there's again, it could be an illusion. It seemed like there's a purpose, that there's an underlying master plan of some kind. And it seems like
there may not be a master plan in the sense. So there's maybe an interesting answer to the question of determinism versus free will is that if we are in a simulation, the reason that these higher beings would hold a simulation is to see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not they don't know what happens. Otherwise, they wouldn't hold the simulation.
Mm-hmm.
So when humans create a simulation, so at SpaceX and Tesla, we create simulations all the time. Especially for the rocket, you have to run a lot of simulations to understand what's going to happen, because you can't really test the rocket until it goes to space, and you want it to work. So you have to simulate subsonic, transonic, supersonic, hypersonic ascent, and then coming back, super high heating and orbital dynamics. All this is going to be simulated. So because you don't get very many kicks at the can. But we run the simulations to see what happens. Not if we knew what happens, we wouldn't run the simulation.
Mm-hmm.
So if there's whoever created this existence they're running it because they don't know what's going to happen, not because they do.
so. Maybe
It blew his mind.
I want to say he just like broke himself.
So that's an interesting way of thinking of it as well.
Yeah.
The simulation is made not to lull us into some kind of paradise where we're being used as batteries in the background of our actual selves, but because we don't know what's going to happen with, I guess, Earth, humanity.
Yeah.
So they're running simulations.
But the interesting part about that too is if you think about like them doing Tesla simulations
Yeah.
or SpaceX, then it's like, you know, they're doing so many.
Mm-hmm.
So how many other simulations are there?
Have there been?
There
Of
could
us?
be simultaneous
Of us?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, true. True.
of just civilization in general.
Yeah.
And what would that difference be?
Yeah. Well,
Like, did they start it off different? Did something different happen along the line?
yeah. Well, in the Matrix, the Smith agents, you can cough loud. Go ahead. If you need to cough it out, yeah, go ahead. There you go. There you go. Oh, you're my wife. You can do whatever you want. But in the Matrix, they always say, the Smith agent says, he's always like, we started this once before. We've done this before, and we gave you everything you wanted. We gave you like paradise, and the human mind couldn't handle it.
No.
So everybody went crazy. So they had another one where it was like regular life. Like they wanted to give them a simulation where it was just all peaceful and bliss, and like they're just batteries and it's fine. But people couldn't, like the original bodies, the pods, whatever you want to call it, they rejected it, and they would all like, you know, convulse and short out because they couldn't handle just happiness all the time. You know, like heaven. They couldn't handle heaven.
Interesting that you said bliss, because that's actually I think a movie
Oh, is it?
on Amazon.
Oh,
That's
really?
pretty much about that.
True.
And
Makes
it's
sense.
basically like they figured everything out. Like people live in this amazing place,
Yeah.
but they're so unhappy because you can't have happiness without knowing what unhappiness can be.
Yes.
So it's not even like you're not even like just content. It's just your baseline.
True. Very true.
So they would do like anti-vacations
So
with
they would-
VR to a really horrible place.
Oh, maybe that's what this place is.
So that when you come back, it's like, oh my gosh, this is amazing.
Yeah. So you have real appreciation.
Yeah.
Wow. Interesting. Because, I mean, arguably that's what this is. I mean, not for everybody, but for a lot of people on Earth, that's exactly what this is.
It's
There's
the
a lot of-
anti-vacation.
There's a lot of hardship. And also, I mean, just moving away from that, like how many times people need to be able to have like rough experiences. I was just listening to an episode of Joe Rogan. They were just talking about this, how this gentleman, Adam Greentree, he's happy when he has to hunt and go through the forest, and it's hard, and like, but he feels like if he said, he's like, if I didn't have all this to do, he's like, I feel like I'd have mental health problems.
Yeah.
Because I would get bored easily. Like, what happens to your mind? You unravel when you're just like sitting and not needing to have any hardship at all.
It's like there's an animated movie called WALL-E where all the people just get fat and they like lose the bones in their legs because they're just like on
Yes.
these like not even scooters, but they're like floating buckets.
Yeah. Yes.
It's like that.
I've never seen the movie, but I've seen
I
that
love that
scene
movie. Yeah.
where they're like
It's
just
so
they're
good.
just like in those wheel. They seem like some people that you see at Disneyland
Yes.
where they need to sit in one
Yeah.
of those things
On the motorized
because they can't walk around that far.
wheelchairs with the turkey legs.
Wild. My friend's dad had to do that.
Oh no.
I won't say what friend, but my friend's dad had to do that.
Oh no.
He's in bad shape.
That's not good.
Just riding around with giant hot dogs. And
Yeah,
big
that's
things.
crazy.
Yeah, but again, that's the thing, right? Like you need that.
Yeah, the mind needs stimulation.
Yeah. Like how often me myself, how do I have friends and myself where it's like if I don't work out at all for like a long time, I start to feel down.
Yeah.
And then when you do work out, which is a hard thing to do, you feel better.
Especially when you feel down is a hard thing to do.
Yeah.
So you have to really overcome that.
You have to break that cycle of things. Like it's interesting to think about. Could this be a simulation?
Yeah.
Now, you said that you had a bunch of arguments brought up.
Well, I talked about a couple of them.
Did
the
you?
Fermi paradox and
Yeah.
Occam's razor and stuff
Mm-hmm.
like that. Some of the other ones, just one of them is that like all like the glitches in the Matrix
Yes.
that people always see
Yes.
is a good argument for simulation theory, that it exists.
Oh yeah.
Because all these weird things happen, and it's like if it's a computer program, like of course things are going to glitch.
Does deja vu go along with that?
Yes.
Yeah, because
And the Mandela effect.
that's the biggest glitch to me.
Deja vu, yeah.
Yeah, when I walk into a room and I'm like, oh, this whole day, I've done this whole day before.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, wait, what? And then it kind of wears away.
And it's weird that that's such a universal experience as well. Like everybody has it.
Who hasn't had that?
Yeah, it's so strange.
It's very interesting. And some people get it intensely.
Yeah.
They like know what someone's going to say.
Yeah.
They've done it before.
It's crazy.
You know?
Yeah.
Because back to what you were saying with, or, you know, what you and Musk were saying, if you bring up multiple tests, multiple simulations, how much would it all really change? Like maybe you wouldn't change it a drastic amount. It'd be the same days, but certain things would slightly change.
Yeah.
They'd be like, okay, people didn't make it too far. It turns out they needed some kind of resistance. So this time we're just gonna do the Klaus Schwab, George Soros thing. See what happens there. Mm-hmm. Because like they're working. They're like, we need the Great Awakening. What's happening? The Great Awakening for some reason is not happening. Every single time the whole world ends, and then all of a sudden they figure out like we need more resistance. We actually need something evil to actually bring about the Great Awakening.
Yeah.
Otherwise, it doesn't happen. They're like, okay, Klaus Schwab, put him in.
You need a Dr. Evil in
Yeah,
there.
exactly.
I wonder too what would happen because humanity started in Africa and just kind of branched out from there, and we migrated out and evolved and whatever else. But I was like picturing a simulation where if they started in North America or Asia, or like what would be the differences?
Yeah.
I feel like if we started in North America, we'd probably just like die out.
Possibly. Possibly, yeah. But I mean, at the same time, all of the continents were closer at one point.
Yes.
So maybe there'd be a part of, maybe it wouldn't quite be like that. I
Yeah.
don't know.
But like if we started in a cold place, like I don't think we would have survived.
No, I definitely wouldn't have. I need heat, definitely. Can I show you something?
Yeah.
I'm going to show you something. I'm going to show all of you something as well. This is Lex Friedman and Mark Zuckerberg. As you can see, he has a headset on, and this is just a game, right? Like,
I
what
always
is
worry
this?
when they look that happy. That's a big smile.
That's very true. He is very happy right now. But this is what he's seeing. So this is tripping him out right now. So this is him and Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh my God.
And that's what Mark Zuckerberg sees. So this is a legit, the same way I was just showing you that game, this is the same type of thing. These are just avatars.
It's freaky.
So that's really what he's seeing, and that's the end result.
Wow.
Right? So again, that's just the avatar. That's not his real face. That's Mark Zuckerberg's avatar. It's not his real face. And they can both see each other just like that. Look at his shirt. Look at his shirt. Look at the collar. Look at the creases
Oh, that's
there.
so weird looking.
Right? Look at the eyes, like everything.
Yeah.
It all works.
That triggers that like uncanny valley effect though.
Does it?
Yeah, for me it does.
Well, I think it looks very, very real. Obviously, I can tell it's not.
Yeah.
But at the same time, when we go from what people were making fun of Mark Zuckerberg about when he first started the whole metaverse thing, and it was like these dumb avatars, to this is a drastic improvement. Now, there's no arms, no legs.
Yeah.
Right? Yet.
But I feel like the face is the hardest thing to do.
Exactly.
And like expressions and everything.
Exactly. But I mean, also walking cycles
Yes.
and everything. I have a friend who's a 3D animator, and it's like walking cycles. He's like, this is just the hardest thing ever.
It's like that game, was it called Guap or something? Where you have to like move their like thigh muscles and their calf muscles and they're all
really?
crazy.
I have not seen that.
I feel like you probably have. It's like a classic game.
Really?
Yeah.
But there you go, right? Think about that. Think about arms, legs. Think about a surrounding, room or whatever. And now you're just in that. How many people would give into that and just be like, okay, I'm just going to stay here.
Yeah.
Because when I'm here, it's fine. Like, I don't have to worry about anything. There's many people, I think, that you perfect that a little bit more. You give it arms, legs, a way for them to go into work just via that. And they can just sit there and still have the experiences mentally without moving around,
Yeah.
I think there's a class of people that would just be like, give me a feeding tube.
I was literally just thinking, like, how would they eat? But I
Yeah.
guess it would just be,
Someone would just be like, just hook me up to a thing.
huh,
Gives me vitamins, I'm good. I'm fine.
vitamins and calories.
That's it. That's all I need.
That's crazy.
Just give me some calories, give me some vitamins, give me vitamin B, give me some NAC, give me some glutathione, all those good things, and let's go. Give me
Yeah.
vitamin D. Up the vitamin D when I'm in a hot place.
Oh gosh.
When I'm simulating a hot place, up the vitamin D.
That's so crazy.
So I get hot, like, oh, I'm in the sun too long.
Yeah.
I think there's a bunch of people that would do
That's
that.
so weird.
But what else do you have on these things, these arguments? And also, what do you think? Past what you have found on the internet, what do you actually think?
I don't know. Like, my gut instinct is that it's not a simulation theory,
Mm-hmm.
but then intellectually, that's what I would be supposed to think.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah.
Like, it doesn't, like, I feel like there's too many arguments for it,
Yeah.
but I still don't think it is.
Yeah. Because you're not
It's hard.
supposed to. You're
Exactly.
not supposed to think that. There's a video of a gentleman, and he's walking around like an RPG game, and he's just going up to the NPCs because he can talk. Like, it's different. It's not like you just playing. You can talk through a headset, so you can actually go up to them and talk to them.
Oh, that's cool.
And he's like, "Hey, there's a world outside of here."
Oh, geez.
And he's like trying to tell
oh,
them.
no.
And some of them are like, "You're crazy. What are you talking? How they, what are you talking about?
Yeah.
Get out of here."
Huh.
And he's like trying to like awaken them.
Interesting.
So it's like, think about that. Like, if someone came in here right now and they were like, "This is a simulation."
I'm sure there are people who scream that on the street.
Yeah, right. But you would be like, "You're crazy."
Yeah.
You would act just like those NPCs act via that game.
True.
It's so weird.
I
So
can
weird to
assume.
think about. It's a very odd thing to think about.
Do you have that article I sent you? That one was super
Yes.
interesting.
Yes, I didn't get to read it at all.
Good.
Good? Okay.
Yeah. So this one is talking about DNA code. So DNA is just made up of 4 different letters,
Yes.
which represent the amino acids
Okay.
that make up the chains of DNA.
Okay. I did not know that.
So for each, just in case, so there's a little bit of background info. So when they sequence DNA, like they put DNA into a computer, and
Yeah.
the computer will process it by giving each of those 4 letters a different 2-digit binary code number.
Okay.
So like one will be 01, one will be 10, one will be 11, and one will be 00.
Okay.
So that the computer can understand it, and it like changes it into the computer's language.
Right.
So what these researchers have done is embedded a malicious computer virus into DNA
What?
by using this code.
Wow.
So it's absolutely insane. So basically, like, if you put in some kind of binary sequence into a computer, lots of zeros and ones, that is what can make up a virus.
Yes.
So they reverse engineered from that binary code back to a DNA sequence based on what the computer thinks DNA is.
Okay. So then how does that get into like our DNA?
Well, that's the issue, is that they're thinking like, in theory, everybody's DNA is a little bit different, and there's all these like different pairs.
Of course.
So if you come across the right or the wrong person's DNA and put it through one of these DNA tracers, it could be a virus by itself accidentally.
Someone's DNA could be?
Yeah, it could act as a computer virus.
Oh. Okay. Yeah.
Which is
that makes
really
sense.
crazy to think about to begin with.
But then the inverse could be true if the technology existed, I guess.
Yes, and they actually did it.
They did it to who?
They didn't do it to a person, but they took a DNA sample
So they say.
and edited the DNA sequence to input a computer virus.
And it
then-
infected the person's DNA.
It infected the computer when they ran the DNA through the computer.
Okay. So they haven't done it to a person. They're taking people DNA to computers and infecting computers.
Yes. But just the fact that they can do that kind of leads to simulation theory as well, that we're basically just binary code.
Yeah, why? Yeah.
And that it can be read by computers so easily.
Wow. What a time to be sober for a year. For me. Jeez.
And this is the first time like it's ever been like computer code is the same as DNA sequencing code. It's the first time it's been interchangeable, and somebody's DNA could affect computer programs.
That's crazy.
So now they're thinking this is like another form of like cyber attack.
Through DNA.
Yes. Through edited DNA sequences.
Huh. So how could that be bad? So somebody could, I don't even know. This is like above my pay grade. How
So if I like start thinking about this and exactly what could happen.
Okay.
So there's gene sequencing going on all over the world at all times.
Yeah.
Like things like 23andMe, whatever. Even just like government, they're just tracking genes and trying to learn more about it at research centers.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think there's maybe like a country who wants to cause something malicious in
Yeah.
another country.
Yeah.
All they would have to do is send in someone to that country with slightly modified DNA
And then do what?
and then have them take a 23andMe test,
But
which
then
would then release a virus into the computer systems of 23andMe, which could get everybody's DNA sequence.
But then
They could release a Trojan horse.
Oh. Someone's blood could be a Trojan horse, basically.
Yeah.
Huh.
And all you would have to do is just get it into one of these sequencing things.
But then, okay, so that, at least that wouldn't harm us.
No, not
But then-
physically,
but then
but
the
it's a cyber attack.
Exactly. So then the reverse could be they could figure out how to make a blood sequence
Yeah.
that is something that is bad for us.
But then they'd have to get it into us.
Yeah,
somehow.
exactly. Well,
Yeah.
so that's very interesting. Very, very interesting.
I just found it crazy. I didn't know that was even a possibility
Wow.
to put computer code into DNA.
But you know what? At the same time, look at technology right now, and have we not already affected it? Like everything that technology could be, everything that it should be in terms of improving and making things just drastically better. It's like it does that, but at the same time, we have infected it. We've given it like we've like deformed it with TikTok and Instagram and Twitter and all of these wild adult images, and like we've infected it quite a bit.
Yeah.
When you look at like think of like the bloodstream being the internet. How much have people tainted that bloodstream?
True. Yeah.
Constantly with hate and imagery and depravity and like all this different stuff.
Yeah.
And then that's why the robots hate us when they take over, because they're like, we know what you've done to our mother. You've done terrible things to our mother.
Yeah.
Can you imagine? We've seen all the images you've put into our mother.
Yeah. Horrible.
Jeez. I actually had a joke about that. I was working on a bit. I still want to do that bit. I think I had that bit, and then I heard Joe Rogan do something similar, and it annoyed me. But it's different. It's vastly different, and it's just about technology taking over, and then all of us being on trial in the things that we've done.
Yeah. For like our Google search history.
Google search history. The objects that people buy that are technology that we use.
And like how we treat them.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
And what things we've done to them. Yeah, and then we're on trial for all of that stuff and the nasty things we've done. Interesting. Woo. Wow. I like that you brought that one to the table.
And it's also
Really?
crazy that it's from 2017. So it's like I'm sure they've developed a lot of things since then.
And I always go back to like, why were you doing that?
Why
Why were you? Who said you could do this? Who
all the
said?
nerds.
Who said? Here's $500,000 for each of you. Stay here and work on this.
That's
Who
true.
said that to you?
Yeah.
Why did they let you do that? What are you gonna do with that information now? Mm-hmm. There should be some kind of open source board of such where you see these patents and you're able to, as the public, vote and be like, what are you doing? Like question like what you're doing. It's just weird. I don't know.
Yeah, that's weird.
Like if you saw somebody doing like what Elon Musk is doing, he's like making implants in the monkeys, and now he's got it approved for humans. Everybody should be like, what are you doing? Tell us everything that you're going to do with this. Yeah. Why are you doing this? And then we should be able to be like, what's the worst that could happen? What's the best that could happen?
Yeah.
Well, the worst is at a 95. That means you stop now.
Yeah.
Your project is done. Like, and the people decide. The people just get together and they just go, that's it. And then he's like, no, I'm gonna solve obesity and I'm gonna make sure people can walk again. Okay, cool.
But basically that means you're just killing everybody who can't do those things.
But you're gonna stop. But you're gonna stop there. You're only allowed to use this on people who are paralyzed.
Yeah.
Like if that's your task, because that's what they say Neuralink is for. If that's it, then only on these people.
Yes.
Never on anybody else.
Yeah.
Ever.
Strictly forbidden.
Against the law.
Yeah.
Done. Because I was doing an episode about Neuralink. And, you know, the funny thing is he does say that it's for people who are going to be blind, people who are paralyzed, people who have these neurological diseases. But then when he's testing it on monkeys that don't have any of these things.
Yeah.
And he's making sure in this test, I think I showed you a picture of it. In the test, the monkey is playing this game and it's unhooked and it's doing it with its mind and it's getting this feed of like banana smoothie. And it's like, why are you doing that? What is that?
Yeah.
Like, are you planning, like you were just talking about WALL-E, like, are you planning to put somebody in this state where they're just doing this thing with their mind and they're getting some tasty treat?
Some positive feedback of some sort.
Some kind of reward. Because the monkey wasn't paralyzed. Shouldn't you be working on paralyzed monkeys if that's what your goal is?
Yeah.
But you're not. You're working on monkeys that are able-bodied. So is this going to go to humans that are able-bodied? Because you just said it wasn't. It's very interesting.
Yeah, I don't know.
Makes me think. What else you got on there?
That was it.
That's it?
Yep.
You know what, guys? We're going to end it here. Subscribe, like the video, and think about all this. There's a whole lot going on. Was this real? Did you really just see all this? Is this actual? Look at your hand. Give your hand a look. Give it a little knock. See what's going on. Is it real? Are the claps? When I clap like that, is that real? Got to question it. Is there really a wife here?
I was going to say, do we exist once the screen goes off?
I said that at the beginning of this podcast. I'm like, pretty soon people are going to be okay with this person that they're interacting with online to just be completely fake.
Yeah.
Like, as long as it's entertaining, they're going to be like, I don't care. Who cares?
Yeah.
And you got to think of the inverse as well. Any of these creators, if you still got paid the same, if you still got the same dopamine rushes, would a creator really care if all their likes and all their views and comments and everything was fake? They wouldn't be like, I don't care. If they still got the same reward, they'd be like, who cares?
True.
You know?
Yeah.
Interesting world we live in. Have fun in it, guys. We're out.
Bye.